Coming to you straight from Fremont, California, this is the Fremont Podcast, dedicated to telling the stories of the past and present of the people and places of the city of Fremont, one conversation at a time. Now, here's your host, Ricky B.
Hello, Fremont. Thanks again for all the ongoing support and sharing that you have offered. It's exciting to hear from you and to see so much good and encouraging feedback come from you about our city. Really appreciate it, so keep it up. Well, it's the weekend, and I am posting this episode, which is a little out of rhythm with the plan moving forward. Each week, I plan to post a new episode on Wednesday, but occasionally, like this week, I will share an extra episode if I feel the urge to do so. And today, there is good reason to share a new one with you. Niles Candle Company just celebrated its grand opening last week in Niles, and I was able to sit down with the owners and hear their story. What they are doing is amazing and exciting, and I wouldn't want to miss out on the opportunity to hear from them and learn from them from the beginning. This couple is from Fremont. They have grown up here, and now they are investing back into the community for their kids and their kids' generation. So you will want to check them out. You can find their shop next to Bronco Billy's downtown Niles. They are open each weekend until 6 o'clock. So wander on in there and tell them that you heard about them from the Fremont Podcast. And support them by finding something that you can take home with you. I know that you will love it. But before you do that, check out this conversation that I was able to have with them. You won't want to miss it. All right, today I am downtown Niles with Anthony and Herma, and they are the owners of the new, I think it's new, right?
It is
Correct,
new.
yes.
The new Niles Candle Company. And so we are in their store right now. We actually have sounds of Niles in the background you might hear. And I'm just really excited to be down here with you guys. This is awesome.
Thank
We're
you.
excited.
Thank you very much for coming by. We appreciate it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So let's start with just hearing a little bit about you guys. You guys both grew up in Fremont,
Correct.
or at least close by. Tell me a little bit about growing up here. Yeah.
Start. So I did grow up near Fremont. I was actually, I grew up in Union City up until I was about 12 years old. Then my family moved to Fremont, which was, I have to say, it was heartbreaking for me to move to Fremont because that Union City was what I knew all my life. Being uprooted in the middle of middle school wasn't fun, but it was an eye-opener for me moving to Fremont. It was very diverse. Our neighbors were not Filipinos. Our neighbors weren't our friends that we were growing up with. So going to middle school in Union City, and everybody knew everybody. I didn't know anybody from Fremont, but as I grew up, I became very good friends with a lot of people, and it's because it's the diversity. Yeah. And I think for my parents, they kind of came out of their shell as well, which was really nice because they, California, they came from the Philippines. And so they lived in California for a little bit, and all they've ever known was a Filipino community. And when we moved to Fremont, we had an Indian family next to us. And then we had a Mexican family that lived right next to us as well. So both sides were different. And living in Union City for, almost 10 plus years, we've always had Filipinos right next to us. So moving to Fremont was a very eye-opener for myself as well as my parents. And they kind of went outside the box, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't think that my parents were going to be able to handle it. But they succeeded.
That's awesome.
They went out of their box, and they have so many friends outside of our culture that it's amazing, you know. And my parents, if you talk to them now, they still have a little bit of a Filipino accent, but and it comes out every so often. But they can sit there and have a conversation with every nationality, and they're not afraid.
That's awesome. Anthony, what about you? Where did you grow up in Fremont, or what part of Fremont?
For the most part, I grew up in Fremont my whole life. I moved around for about 3 or 4 years and came back to Fremont. I grew up in the Ogden side of Stevenson.
Yeah. Yep.
Over by what is it?
In the Irvington area down there?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
And then I also grew up off of Porter, off Stevenson as well.
Okay.
Yeah. And I went to Kennedy High School. I graduated. That's how we met.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys met.
We met through high school at John F. Kennedy High School.
That's awesome. Very good. So, I mean, not to necessarily, place your ages there, but do you guys graduate in the same class or apart?
1 year apart.
1 year apart. Okay.
Yeah, 1 year apart. Correct.
That's great. Well, I think it's remarkable, quite honestly, just considering the fact that Fremont seems, I mean, I've only lived here, 7.5 years. Given the fact that so many people have come and gone and that so many things have changed around over here since then, it's remarkable to me that you guys are still living in Fremont. Like I can imagine people who grew up in this area with it a certain way, and seeing so many changes and so many things happen over the years. I can imagine that being kind of a deterrent or something that would scare people away from living here. But you're still here, and not only are you here, but you're investing in the community. You have a shop here. Also, you're part owner of the bike shop around the corner. And I just think that's amazing. I'm curious from, considering your story of growing up here, graduating from a Fremont high school, meeting there, and then coming to where you are now. Like, what inspired you, or what is it that has kept you here all these years, and what is it that inspires you now to get rooted even more into the community?
What's kept us here, I think, is the love that we have for Fremont. Like I said, we can drive from one end of town to another end of town, and it's totally different. There's lots of it's culturally diverse.
Yeah.
And we want that for our children. I don't see us leaving Fremont for anything. We want our children to know what living in a multicultural area feels like. Fremont is home to us. Fremont is what I feel is comforting. We decided to go into this in Fremont, in Niles, because we love the community. I love looking out and seeing the grassy mountains and the Nile sign there. It's very rich in culture. I want my kids to have that same feeling. I want them to grow up in the same community that I grew up in.
That's great. That's great. What about you, Anthony? Anything to comment on that?
Oh, I mean, again, we've lived here all our lives. Fremont has gone through some changes, no doubt. From small town to like big industry. It was Ford and Numi and Tesla now. So we've seen a lot of change. But the thing with Fremont, it's a huge population. A lot of people don't know that it's part residential plus tech and a car industry company. So with that being said, it's kind of like the hub of Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
And you have a lot of startup, a lot of small business. You have big industry, mom and pop shops like ours. And we just, again, we love Fremont. There's really no other place like it. I mean, it's like 76 degrees year round. If it rains, we're like, oh my God, it's raining. So it's like, my God, you can't it's the best weather.
It is. It is. I think it's so funny because I've gotten spoiled since I moved here, because I grew up and spent most of my life on the East Coast. And it's just funny because I tell people, you're from Fremont if it drops below like 65 and people are like, it's getting cold, and then it gets above 70 and they're like, I need to get my, I need to take a jacket off, and it's getting hot out,
Yeah.
People are complaining because of the small fraction of change in the temperature.
Dropping and then rising again. Definitely.
So, one thing that just fascinates me, not just about you guys and your shop, but also just in general, it's actually one of the things that I really do love about Fremont is, part of the reason that people, I would say the main reason people move to the Bay Area, if they're not from here originally, is for the tech industry. Because, this is the center of of the tech world, center of the world when it comes to technology, and people are looking to to do really well in a tech world, and you can go across the bridge and these tech companies are willing to pay 6-figure incomes, people walking in the door right out of college. And yet here you guys are starting a candle shop, and you have a bike shop, and those just in no way can compete with these tech companies. And yet you expect to survive and stay alive here. Well, I'm just, why start a candle shop? What inspired you to start a candle shop, or why a bike shop? What is it about these particular things that you feel are really important to our community?
So for us, our customer service is our technology, and that's what we thrive on.
That's so good.
It's all face to face. It's a lost art. It's all FaceTime and smartphones. But for us, again, since we're talking tech, that's what it is for us. Our technology is our customer service.
That's amazing. I love that. Yeah. Herma, did you have any?
I was just going to say, I feel like with these bigger companies now that we lose that face-to-face. And I love interacting. I learn from people when I talk to them. I gain so much knowledge, but not only that, I see something different in them and in myself. I can talk to a customer for 15 minutes and then I'll be like, I never knew that, And so it's learning about other people, but also providing that customer service to the people that live in my community. I love to see people. I love to interact with people within my community, and I'm open for people outside of my community to come in. But yeah, why we started a candle company?
Yeah. Well, how did you get into candle making?
Yeah.
I'm looking. I'm seriously. We had to remove a wax pot from the table that you guys have the microphones on, and I'm looking at boxes that are filled with glass globes with wicks sticking out of them, as if you guys are getting ready to make candles tonight.
We're going to be making a small batch again this evening.
How did we get into that? What is it? Tell me the story behind that.
So, when I met Anthony, he and I would watch movies and whatnot, and he would always burn a candle. We moved into our home. He was honestly the person that was the fragrance person. He would always burn different types of candles. The hustle and bustle of our daily lives, children and stuff, I'm not that person that'll light a candle or remember to light a candle. But I think in these last couple of years, candles has been some type of a relief for me. And we started buying a lot from the big box stores. And we started noticing that after we get halfway through, the scents weren't there. And I started reading up on it because he was like, well, if you don't like the scent, he came home one day with a candle. And I was like, I don't really know about that scent. He's like, well, then make one. I was like, well, how hard could it be?
Challenge accepted.
Exactly. Right. So I did a little research and I told him, I said, hey, you know what? I'm going to try it. And he goes, try what? And I said, I'm going to try making candles. He's like, go ahead. He's always been my biggest supporter. So I got a couple of scents. He was like, this is amazing. And the holidays were actually coming around. And I had said, let's see if what kind of scents people are looking into. And we gave a couple out to our friends and family. What really inspired me to do it was our kids, because they're, as kids, they don't really care about scents and whatnot, right? And we did a caramel popcorn and we did a watermelon for them. And they were like, this smells so good. So, and that's how it evolved. I think we started giving it to friends and family and they started asking, and giving us feedback. Yeah. And then my husband's business mind was like, let's turn this into something profitable.
Sure.
Why not?
Yeah.
So we started doing the farmers markets and pop-ups and trade shows and Mother's Day, Hawaiian Festival.
Hawaiian festivals.
And it just snowballed from there. And then literally we're across the street every Saturday morning from 9 to 2 at the farmers market.
At the Niles Farmers Market.
Yes, yeah. For 2 years.
For 2 years. And then we're just doing it there. And then
we ventured out to a different other pop-ups within the area.
And then this past holiday.
Yep, this past holiday, I was like, you know what? I think I'm ready. And so he said, you've always been ready. We just need the location. And I had always said, if I'm going to open a candle shop, it's going to be in Niles. Yeah. And to be perfectly honest with you, I've always wanted this shop, the one that we're in now. Every time we were...
Are you serious?
I swear.
Oh my goodness, that is awesome.
So when we were at the farmer's market, I would always look this way. And I said, one of these days, I'm going to get into that shop. And it's funny because my kids, we would go down to the ice cream shop here, and we would walk past this shop and walk towards the bicycle shop. And I always tell my kids, watch, one day I'm going to be here. And they're like, Mom, they're never going to leave. The plant people are never going to leave. And this past holiday, lo and behold, I was like, they're gone.
Oh my, wow.
Yeah. So you manifest it. I manifested it and I got it. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. That is super cool. Wow. Yeah, I think the shop is amazing. I think it looks great. My wife would have a field day in here. She would absolutely love it. And I know we'll be in here. And actually, I do want to talk about the bike shop, but we'll have to save that for another episode because I think I want to hear the story about how that got going as well. And I'm so excited to see a bike shop here in Niles. So that'll be our little teaser in a future episode. We're gonna we'll go down there. But that's really great. So I would just say, as you guys look into the future of this shop, the Niles Candle Company, or just making roots here in Niles and Fremont. What are some things that you hope about? What are some things that you dream about that you would love to see happen? You dream to be in this space, and I think that's the beginning of a bigger dream. Like what do you hope to see? And then how do you anticipate or hope that it affects the community? Like how would you like to see your impact on the community affect other people?
Well, I think that it'll bring a different vibe, obviously, to this small town here. I do see different age ranges here, and I love that. I love the diversity. But more so, I think I want to bring in more people to help this community build out, right? We have a lot of history around here, and people don't know that.
Yeah, Charlie Chaplin.
Yeah, and if I can provide
Hollywood.
that, or if we can provide that through the shop, it's only going to make our community much better. Our children, we always try to instill in them, learn as much as you possibly can from different people. And I think for them, it's if you see it from your parents, they're actually going to learn to do it. And be more accepting of it. But if you don't put anything out, nothing's going to come back in return. So
that's great. Anything to add to that, Anthony?
I feel like what we want to do, obviously, as well as teach our kids about business and being self-employed and entrepreneurs, also about giving back to the community. We want to provide a product we believe in. Everything in here, besides those crystals, is all handmade. So everything's handmade inside the shop. So that's what we take pride in, like the fragrance sprays, the keychains.
Those are all handmade.
All handmade. The candles, the diffusers, what else? The bracelets, wristlets, the macrame. It's all handmade. So it's all handcrafted. And it's like, some people don't see those little details, or living in a small town USA, I could buy anything I want from Amazon, or I could go to Walmart or support big box companies or these tech companies, but no one's who's really investing in the small guy, the underdog, the 80% of America that's is small business that makes up all that factors. So we want to promote that, and as well as being eco-friendly, because all this is it's soy-based, it's good for the environment. Like if you buy a regular candle, you'll see that black soot. swirl around that's not good for you.
Yeah.
You can't be breathing that stuff. So we promote that to our children and let them know this is a good product. Mommy made this product. It's safe. It's good for the environment and the community, and as well as leaving a green footprint, and we think about all that stuff, recycling to the trash, everything.
Wow. Well, there's two things that I know that I'm going to take away from this. You talk about teaching or learning from other people. I listen to you guys, and there's two things that I'm going to take away from this that I really appreciate. One of those, Anthony, you said that customer service is our technology. It's the thing that we use. I think that technology helps us to forget that we're human. We're reminded by a scent of a candle that it's better to have that fragrance and to smell that fragrance than to get a like on Facebook or to get a follow on Instagram. And I think that that's one of the things, hearing you speak customer service, we forget what it's like to receive kindness from one another, right, and what it's like to receive beauty and creativity from one another.
Exactly.
And I think the second thing that I would say that I've learned and that I'm hearing from you that I just love is that you're instilling in the next generation the values that are going to keep things good in our world around us. And that's one of the reasons why I love Fremont, is because it's a great place for my son to grow up, and I want him to learn to love people from every background in every place. And this is a great place to do that. But we have to be reminded that we're people, and that we live with people, and that we are human,
Yeah.
So
we need to be able to interact with people, and that's what's going to make our community much better. We can't alienate. We can't, say one thing or another that will divide us. We need to stay strong as a community and make sure that, our next generation knows that that's what needs to happen. It's very hard in this time, in pandemic, it's hard for us to socialize and get together. But we tell our kids all the time, if there's an opportunity, like when you're in mommy shop, if you talk to people and they say hi to you, take that opportunity to say hello back, because it's one of those things that we miss. We miss all the interactions. But hopefully now that with the store opening, people will come in, we'll get that interaction and just learn different things from other people.
That's great. Anthony, do you have anything you want to say before we wrap it up here?
I think that's it. Again, we appreciate coming out, making the time. Yeah. Like I said, and we're just trying to, let people know that we're out here. We're trying to do something positive, and like even getting the space was all just people believing in us. People like yourself.
Yep.
You met Ken earlier, paying our sign.
Yep.
Those type of things, those details are like a lost art.
They are.
People forget about those things, and we just want to remind them that we can be a small business. You can start your own business in America, in Fremont, California.
Yeah.
So
that's great.
Well,
if you're down here, if you find Niles, which I hope you do, because it's a great part of Fremont. If you find Niles, look up Bronco Billy's Pizza, order some pizza, and then on your 20-minute wait for your pizza to be made, come and pop into the Niles Candle Company and check it out.
For sure. Shout out Marlene at Bronco Billy's.
There you go. That's great. Well, guys, thank you so much for being on this. And I'm excited for people to be able to hear this episode and to be able to get to know you guys a little bit better. So thanks for taking your time to do this as well.
Thank you so much.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
You've been listening to the Fremont Podcast. Be sure to subscribe wherever it is that you listen so you don't miss an episode. And if you're so inclined, leave a kind review so that others can find the podcast. To stay connected with us, you can find links to our social media and other content at thefremontpodcast.com. This episode was hosted, edited, and produced by Ricky B. Music provided through Soundstripe.com. I'm Gary Williams. Join us next week on the Fremont Podcast.